Yes. As a teacher that's retired, is it not true that this tax will affect me because I'll be paying actually more because I'll be paying an increase in sales tax, number one. Number two, legislation has blocked me from being a consultant or a substitute after retirement, so I don't have an extra source of income. I can't just go off like corporate lawyers and go to another company and do a consultation, you know. So I see, and maybe you can give me your perspective, how this would help me, because as I see it, it is not going to help me, and I have no alternative to make an extra income because of legislation prior.
Okay. Paraphrasing, what are your alternatives?
Right.
Okay. Jason? Or Joel?
John Bill, you want to do that?
I've already told him he's right, so.
I would say that your interpretation of the bill that doesn't exist is correct, but please know, you and all the retirees, that we are working toward a solution so that the retirees are not punished. I mean, just to make sure that everybody understands, no state worker that's retired pays any state income tax and hasn't paid state income taxes. And so that's a benefit that they've been handed out to them. And so if there's an increase in sales tax, then obviously they don't get any benefit from the repeal of the income tax. They would actually be paying more sales tax now. But there is a fix. We're working on a few different options, and it's going to be incorporated into the bill. Because again, the practical truth is, it's not going to pass if every retiree in the state of Louisiana is opposed to the bill, and that's just the way it works in the legislature. So there's going to be a fix for the retirees, and then I forgot what your second question was, except that it was a good question.
Contract.
Oh yeah, and you can't go back to work in state government. You can certainly go back to work in the private sector. I mean, there's nothing to prevent any retirees from going to work. You may not, you know, be able to go teach again, and then that's not exactly true. There's a waiting period, and there's 25%, you know, you can make up to 25%, so you can go back to work. It was a system that was being abused at a certain level, but that's a debate for another day, and really doesn't have to do with the tax package, which is why the legislature passed something to try to curtail some of the activities that were going on with the retire, rehire provision that existed prior.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. You've got it right. And if we come up with a way to accommodate you in this bill, then what we've been told is going to be a 1.78 cent increase in the sales tax. The existing sales tax is going to have to go up. When we make an accommodation for the people at the lower end of the economic spectrum, that is going to have to go up. When we make an accommodation for the car dealers, because they're going to be worried about losing that exemption that they have, where you only pay the sales tax on the difference between your trade-in and your new car, or they're going to be worried about what the additional sales tax is going to do to you, then the overall price of this package is going to go up. It's figured at 1.78 cents without those things in it. So we don't know. Every time we do this, and every time we say we're going to make sure nobody's worse off, well, let me tell you something. The Easter Bunny's coming soon, but he's not bringing $3 billion. Somebody's going to have to pay it. And it's going to be people like you, I promise you. That's the way it's going to work. And those people at the top end of the spectrum, I gave you two numbers a while ago. What I didn't tell you is those salaries are made by Tim Barfield and Stephen Morey, the two architects of the plan. Now, they're good people, they're intelligent people, but they're going to reap a huge benefit. You, my friend, are going to pay a huge price. That's the way this is going to work. And by the way, the statement was made a while ago, if we don't do this, we can't participate in the federal legislation about internet sales tax. I know he didn't mean to say if we don't repeal the income tax, we can't participate. And we don't have to extend the sales tax to services to participate. We just have to have the same base at the state and local level. And you can do that with only an adjustment by preventing the locals from taxing pharmaceuticals, groceries, and residential utilities. And there would be other ways to make up for that. But we don't have to do this whole package to take advantage of it. And I will tell you, it is irresponsible to go forward because his words were, if Congress passes this. Has anybody paid attention to how dysfunctional Congress is? They have agreed on this for many, many years and hadn't passed it yet. So you're right, and you're right to be concerned.
Let me quickly touch on those three items. As Chairman Robideau mentioned, we are looking at and studying the impact for retirees and the increased burden. He's absolutely right on that. The fallacy in Representative Edwards' argument is that he's saying the only way to accomplish this is to increase the sales tax rate. That's erroneous. The reason is I've just talked about expanding the sales tax base to services. The more items you bring into the base, the more revenue the state can collect, and you don't have to raise the rate. In addition, we've also made very publicly that we're looking at severance tax exemptions. Those are exemptions, if you eliminate many of them, generate revenue. We've also talked about the increase on cigarettes and excise and other tobacco products. Those are all ways that you can generate revenue without increasing the sales tax rate. So that is not the only way to raise revenue or to generate revenue. The other issue in terms of the online sales tax collection, this structure, the sales tax structure that we have today in terms of the collection of sales tax will not allow us to compete or to collect sales tax revenue from online retailers if we have the same system today. And so that has to be passed. Now, again, the fallacy was that we're relying on this revenue to get to revenue neutrality. That is inaccurate. Our numbers are not such that we need the sales tax revenue from online sales to get to revenue neutrality. What this will do is we need to be in play to protect our local retailers, to be able to protect our businesses, and that we're not one of 4 states in the country that is unable to collect this revenue from remote sellers who come into Louisiana and compete by not having the proper structure. And so that's something that we need to be proactive, not reactive. We need to be proactive in making sure that we have this structure so that if it does pass, we're in play. Thank you.